HoopsHype.com dropped its top 25 shooting guards, and not only is Chicago Bulls Zach Lavine in the top 10, he's in the top 5. Do you agree with this ranking? Let's talk about it starting now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago Bulls daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago Bulls, how Chicago talks, so make sure that you get in tune with us, man. So, HoopsHype.com dropped their top 25 shooting guards of the NBA heading into this season. And not only is Zach Lavine in the top 10, he's in the top 5. And he's not 5. Their list right now, here's their top 10 here. Devin Booker 1, Donovan Mitchell 2, Jaylen Brown 3, Zach Lavine 4, Anthony Edwards 5, Bradley Beal 6, DeJounte Murray 7th, CJ McCollum is 8th, Tyrese Maxey is 9th, Desmond Bane comes in at 10th. And here's the thing, right, where I'm looking at this list. I can't say that I'm mad at any of the names on the list. I think that there could be some movement there. When we talk about Zach Lavine, to me, you guys know I've said this on the channel many a times, right? I think Zach Lavine's a top 2 shooting guard in the Eastern Conference, and he ain't 2. Is my Bulls biased involved in that? Absolutely. 110%. Not even gonna lie about it. But if we're ranking it analytically, right, I think Devin Booker being the #1 shooting guard in the NBA, fine with that. Absolutely agree with that. I think he improved his game a lot. Yeah, I know they got blown out and he didn't come up big in that Dallas Mavericks game 7 versus Phoenix, but I can't take away what he did an entire season and invalidate it based on one horrible game. So Devin Booker being 1, I'm fine with. Donovan Mitchell being at 2, I have an issue with. I'm not going to lie to you. I think Zach Lavine is definitely a better player than Donovan Mitchell. I don't even think there's a question about it, right? And I think there's a lot of people that view Donovan Mitchell putting up big numbers, but they don't look at how those numbers get put up. They don't look at the inefficiency shooting at times. They don't look at the fact that sometimes he does not bring up his teammates around him in order to try and get to the bucket and get a point, right? Like, so for me, I wouldn't even have Donovan Mitchell this high. I don't know if I would have Donovan Mitchell in the top 5. I think Jaylen Brown could fill that #2 spot, and there's a great case for him. Again, there's a lot of people, and I do like how Hoops Hype did this. If you go through and look at it, right, like Tyrese Maxey's on this list. He's also on the point guards list. It's very much a positionless basketball kind of list, so I kind of like that as well. But to me, I could see you making an argument for Jaylen Brown being 2. I could see you making an argument for Zach Lavine being 2, if we're being 100% honest, behind Devin Booker, because I think that when they're both clicking, right, like, I don't know if Jaylen Brown can stop Zach Lavine when he's at 100%. And I think this, based on the teams, right, the teams is different, but I don't think Jaylen Brown just is stopping Zach Lavine on the attack. Now, granted, I don't think Zach Lavine is stopping Jaylen Brown on the other end. I think that's more of a debate on who's the #2 here. I'd give it to Jaylen Brown probably now, just because he went to the NBA Finals last year. Tough to argue it. But for me, Zach Lavine on this list should be higher. I would put him as the #3 on this list, especially when you're talking about what he brings, right? You're talking about him last season being able to fight through injuries, putting up still great stats without having a real dominant backcourt with him, right? Like, when he had that dominant backcourt, he was legitimately, arguably, the best shooting guard in the league next to DeMar DeRozan, who was also on his team. They were both dominant. They were leading the fourth quarters in scoring between the two of them. They were leading fourth quarters in average between the two of them. They were closing out games together. Zach Lavine, to me, was so dominant in the Eastern Conference last year when you're talking about him having that backcourt with him of Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso. So the loss of those two, I think, really is what kind of make his numbers what they are. But, I mean, he still had a great individual season. The production was down from the year before, absolutely, but it's understandable seeing that how many injuries he went through. He had the thumb, he had the back, he had the knee, you know, all those things play into it. And he still averaged 24 points a game, 4.5 rebounds a game, 4.5 assists a game on 47% shooting from the field, 38% shooting from 3, and 85% from the free throw line. That's not bad. And I think that that's something that you have to take into account when you're talking about where these guys are ranking, right? For me, Donovan Mitchell being in the top 5 is mind-blowing to me. And having him above, which is also interesting too, right? Like, kind of, again, the positionless thing, right? But for me, having him above Anthony Edwards and DeJounte Murray, I would say that at a minimum, Anthony Edwards is a much better player than Donovan Mitchell is. And I understand, right, the numbers, the final stats at the end of the day may not say it, but if you had to put one of them on my team for me to build around, give me Anthony Edwards 100% of the time. Now, I do want to know how you guys feel, man. Where do you think guys should be ranked on this list? And where do you believe Zach Lavine should be ranked on this list? Should he be higher? Should he be lower? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Here's the other thing for me, right? That really, for me, puts Zach Lavine kind of high on this list. And I feel like, right, we have to start putting some more respect on his name. I mean, at this point, he's a proven shooting guard. He's a guy that absolutely can go get the job done. He can score at all three levels. There's not a lot of guys in the NBA that are built like that. At least that you're seeing on a night in and night out basis be able to do it, right? I understand last season with Zach, things are a little different, but when we saw Zach healthy on a night in and night out basis, he was able to score from all three levels. He's still able to go up and get that thing. He does have to improve his ball handling, which could be the one thing that makes you knock him down a couple of pegs, but Jaylen Brown also needs to improve his ball handling. I think we saw that in the NBA Finals as well, right? So there's again, right, that debate is still able to be there. And I think the biggest question that people have around Zach Lavine is how far can you go if Zach's your number one? And for me, right, I get it, I understand it, right, but it's also about, if with Zach being your number one with an excellent team around him. This Chicago Bulls team was completely different when Zach Lavine wasn't able to do the things that he's used to doing and being healthy and attacking and being able to knock down that open three in the corner, right? Like Zach Lavine's shooting dropped off tremendously in that playoff series just because he wasn't healthy. He wasn't able to get the lift he wanted. He wasn't able to knock down the shots the way he wanted to, right? And we just never saw Zach really able to get it going in that playoff series versus Milwaukee. So I agree on, if I'm gonna say like kind of like where Zach should be ranked, I do agree. I'll take the homer out of it, right? I would put him 3 right now at shooting guard. Now the interesting thing on this is no James Harden on the shooting guard side. But he does come in on the point guards list, I believe. So kind of an interesting, breakdown of it there. Again, the positionless basketball comes into play. I guess that's a guy that you could argue about at that shooting guard spot. The other interesting thing is, right, inside of the top 25, you had 2 players from the Chicago Bulls in the top 20. And no, the second one is not DeMar DeRozan, which speaks to, right, kind of the struggles that Zach Lavine went through last season. The second one is Alex Caruso being on this list as a top 20 shooting guard in the NBA. And I can't disagree with that one either. Now, here's the thing, right? When you're talking about scoring from that shooting guard position, I feel like you're not going to expect that from Alex Caruso on a night in and night out basis. So that's not something, right, that I'm really looking at and saying, well, if he's not able to score the ball, then is he going to be a valuable asset for the Chicago Bulls in this series? But the defense that he brings off of the bench, the leadership, the championship experience, the understanding of where guys are supposed to be, the ball IQ. I mean, just getting him back, the IQ on the team really elevated once we got him back in the lineup, right? Those are all things that absolutely matter for Alex Caruso. I think that when you look at where this Bulls team was pre-injury and post-injury, you absolutely have to talk about how Alex Caruso affected the game offensively and defensively, right? Like, I mean, he was a player to me that when you needed him to knock down some shots, right, he had that ability, but the thing that stuck out most about me for Alex Caruso was when you needed him to step up most at anything else, you knew you could count on him, right? Like, while the scoring may not have been the craziest, you're talking about a guy that always was there for the big steal, always was there for the big stop, always was there for the perfect pass, always was there, right? Like when he was healthy, Alex Caruso did so many things for the Chicago Bulls that made them a better team. And so to me, I think that Alex Caruso being top 20, I can agree with that, right? He's sitting ahead of Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, who essentially was hurt last season, and we don't really know what's going on with that. Norman Powell from the Clippers, Karis LeVert from Cleveland, again, who, I mean, fell off the face of the earth, dog. And then Jaden Ivey out in Detroit. Those are the 5 guys that he's sitting in front of. And some of the names in front of him, and I'm not going to lie to you, I don't argue with many of the names in front of him either. Seth Curry sitting in front of him. Bogdanovich is an interesting one, right? But again, a shooting guard that's able to score the ball, that's kind of what you want to see at that position. Lou Dort is an interesting one, very much like a Alex Caruso, high energy guy, high effort guy, you know what I mean? And improve that 3-point shot to become a 3-and-D player tremendously. So I can't, again, right, I can't say he shouldn't be there. Anthony Simons is ahead of him. Jalen Green is ahead of him. Gary Trent, Klay Thompson, of course, on the comeback tour. Tyler Hero is 12, which was interesting that you got Tyler Hero above Klay Thompson, but that's kind of playoff things. And then Jordan Poole finishing out at 11. So, I'm not mad at any of the guys on this list above him. I think there's a case to be made for each and every one of them. Maybe Tyler Hero you can make a case for, but again, right, he won 6th Man of the Year. So how much lower are you going to put him, right? And then when you're talking about just guys, that the fact that the Chicago Bulls have 2 top 20 guys at the shooting guard position, I mean, whether you believe they do or not, right? Like, still a really good team. The fact that they have guys that you can argue should be top 20 at their position. The fact that you have guys that you can put in there and say, hey, I trust this guy to be one of the best on the floor at what he does. I think that just speaks to what AK has built, what Acme has built, what this team is becoming, and how far this team can go. And I'm really excited to see what next season is going to bring. Hopefully health is the main thing that it brings, because I think with a healthy Chicago Bulls team, like Hayes said, Hayes dropped a bar on Locked On Bulls yesterday. He said there's a lot of teams in this Eastern Conference that absolutely got better, but they are not better than a healthy Chicago Bulls team. And that's how we're going to end the episode. Shout out to my brother on that one, man. Hey, man, we appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us. We do want to know you guys' opinion. Let us know in the comments below. How do you feel about the Chicago Bulls having 2 top 20 players and Zach Lavine being in the top 5? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bulls content. Click the links on the screen or check the links in the description below. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.